Welcome to Living Once Twice, a lifestyle design and personal adventure podcast. My name is Justin. Come with me as I'm here to help you chart your course for creating the fulfilling life you desire. Join me as every Wednesday we'll dive into the inspiring guest stories, remarkable science, and useful strategies to help you create the momentum you need to take action towards designing your dream life. Remember, your dream life is waiting for you. It's time to go for it. You deserve it. Greetings all. Welcome back to Living Once Twice. Happy New Year to you all. I am excited to embark upon season 8 of the podcast. With that said, I am beyond grateful for your support and your presence in tuning in, as I'm excited to be back creating and cultivating and offering content and conversations that help you to rewrite your own narratives, reinvent yourself, and reimagine your life. If you are enjoying this show, I'd be grateful for your support by sharing the Living Once Twice podcast on Instagram, LinkedIn, leaving us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Also, be sure to give us a follow on the Instagram channel at Living Once Twice for more content updates. So, with a new season of beginnings and opportunities that this season brings, I want to dive into a very important topic, and that is responsibility. Because when you think deeply about what you want this year, this season to be for you, I ask the question, what's the biggest thing preventing you from reaching that goal, living your dream life, becoming the healthiest version of yourself, experiencing that incredible relationship, making that incredible relationship, having that bank account? I can go on and on and on. But is it really the environment you're living in that's preventing that from happening? Is it really the upbringing that you came from, the household you were raised in? Is it really your partner or others outside of you, or even other challenges that life is throwing at you? Or is the real and honest answer to your question of the biggest thing that's preventing you from reaching that goal, is that reflection you see in the mirror each and every morning? Is it you? I feel that for many of us, the reason we're stuck, unfulfilled, and not living up to our fullest potential and experiencing that joy and peace we desperately crave is because we're the causer. It's a hard pill to swallow. It's a pill that I have to continually swallow as I look at the mirror of myself, but there really is no other way to put it. And I think this is the season for that all to change. Now, as I mentioned, I didn't just hit this realization in my own life recently. I think it's a seed that's always been planted. And it's an honest truth that in my own life, I didn't want to hear. I definitely prefer to shy away from. But we know the truth always comes to the surface. It always comes to the light, no matter how hard we try to ignore it, avoid it, numb it. Because each and every single day, we're still living the outcomes of not taking responsibility, not taking accountability for our life and our actions. It's always going to be staring right back at us in the face, and it's always going to rise to the surface in our minds that we could have done more, we should have done more, we could have done better. And unfortunately, listen, there's no way to address this reality besides understanding that unless we take ownership of our current outcomes, the results in our life will not change. They will not improve. They will not get better. And that is something that we can't continue to give ourselves permission to allow to happen. So as I hopped back on this whole road of taking accountability and taking responsibility, one of the useful guides among my journey was the book Mason's Way, the 20 Spiritual Ways taught by a spiritually enlightened dog. And this is from Rachel Fiori, who you will get to hear from directly during this season of the podcast. But I want to explain that her book, her teachings, especially regarding how to rise out of our own victim consciousness, out of our own victimhood, and elevating ourselves through consistent and constant devotion to learning, to healing, to training, to integrating the various Ways of Oneness. It's a resource that you could explore if you're seeking help in this area of personal accountability. And from Rachel, one of the critical first ways of oneness that I learned in terms of raising my own consciousness and really creating that mental and emotional and spiritual freedom and harmony both inward so that I could experience it outward is to fully accept that I, or in this case, you and I, are the only ones responsible for our life. That's the truth. And then once we accept that truth, we could transform it. It's not our parents. It's not society. It's not the systems that are responsible for our lives. It's us. This means we have to take responsibility for our own dysfunction. We have to take responsibility for the unloving behaviors towards ourselves that we then project upon others. We have to take responsibility for our blind spots. I mean, radically acknowledging and owning both the good and bad that our actions, our choices, our behaviors, our inactions, our ability to not pick choices and not choose certain behaviors, all of that has created. We can't give any excuse to it. And so once we're starting to understand that there's no more excuses, there's no more projection, we're then ready to start living and evolving our frequency to a level of divinity that we all are capable of becoming. And that's being the powerfully enlightened manifester that you are, the creator that you are, just the overall beautiful human being that you are designed to be. And so this critical self-assessment is important for us, especially in this new season, because we got to look at our lives and, okay, say one of your goals this season has been your physical health. Well, we have to look at the reason and understand that the reason we're not in the best shape of our lives is because, well, we weren't disciplined, right? It has nothing to do with like our work schedule or the holidays. It's because we chose to not be disciplined in terms of what the food we put in our mouths, the way that we spend our time, whether we are being active at the gym. We have to take responsibility for that. Or the reason why we maybe don't feel joy inside. It's beyond just saying it's because of our past traumas, but it's also because we chose to numb feelings by chasing pleasure, validation, the approvals of others, instead of putting in the work to heal. And the reason that we feel powerless and we choose to maybe remain small and step into our power is because we choose to say people please versus being honest or going along to get along versus setting that boundary. Like, this is the radical acknowledging and accepting responsibility over ourselves and over our lives. And understand though, I get it. So many of us have very valid reasons and that it can justify where we're not where we want to be. And that could be because of, without a doubt, society and structures and the isms of the world and the role that they do play. And there's nothing that I want to say like to I guess discount that. However, again, in order to manifest and create our dream lives, we have to look at what's in our sphere of control and take responsibility and accountability for that. Understand also, as we think about this road, it could seem a little daunting. It could seem a little bit of a huge mountain to climb. And so, no, you don't need to look at just like, okay, just a year ahead. Then focus on what's more manageable, what's more realistic. Maybe it's taking that step in accountability and responsibility over the next 90 days, 1 month, 1 week. Shoot, just go for the day. Take ownership of the day. What do you need to get honest with yourself about? Is it what you eat today, what you spend that $5 on, what you listen to, what you say yes to, what you say no to? What do you do at the first hour of your day? What do you do at the last hour of the day? What do you read? What do you write? What are you doing in your free time? Don't lose sight of the fact that just like how our current state that we're in is a sum of yesterday's past, we can flip that entire equation by what we take ownership of today. And trust me, because I know this as I've been just really working to train and implement this into my life. If you start stringing together day 1 into day 2, which becomes a week, which then becomes 2 weeks, which then becomes a month, and maybe you challenge yourself to do it over a string of 40 days, 90 days and beyond, the seeds that you're planting of taking responsibility and accountability, you will start to reap a new harvest. The universe will have no choice, but to start bending to your will instead of you being victim to the whims of the universe and the whims of outside controls and forces. But it has to start somewhere. And this is the moment for you and I. And you and I both know that this feeling is overdue. And like I said, if you feel a little bit nervous about the task, or you think that this task is going to be overwhelming because of what it's going to require, that is the price we must pay for our peace. That's the price we have to pay for our joy. That's the price we have to pay for what we deserve. Because everything else we've been doing has been blocking us from experiencing that. Not to mention, look around us. Look at, if we continue to stay the same, stay a victim, stay stuck in what our past decisions, choices, actions have netted us, unfortunately, we'll never get to experience the beauty that's always awaited us. It's always been there for us. It's always been for us to claim. And also understand too, and we'll talk about this more in the next episode, but we can't outsmart the grind. And I wish there was another way to say that, but we can't. We can't take shortcuts to this. We can't sell ourselves short on this. There's no short-term overnight way besides us putting in the work. And it starts with us taking that accountability and ownership of our lives. And to stress the importance of this, I'm bringing on an amazing lineup of guests to help both you and I see that the pathway to true manifestation is going to require that we put in the honest effort, take full accountability and responsibility across all areas of our lives. There's no more remaining victim to circumstances, or no more remaining prisoners to our past, no more turning a blind eye to the fact that the one person standing in your way is you. And once we start avoiding ourselves and accepting that we are the sum of all of our actions that we do in the light, actions that we do in the dark, actions that we don't do as well, we will start to unlock new levels to this entire game of life. Your health will start to change because you're aware of what you eat. Your relationship and friendships will start to change because you take ownership of the impact that you have on others and the impact that you allow others to have on you. And when it comes to the area of designing our dream life, our dream business, other pursuits, you will realize that it's A, possible, and B, it's never too late, and C, it was always meant for you and I to claim. And it was only meant for really only you to claim, and that's what's true for your life. So stay tuned, because this season, listen, we're going to become best friends with discipline, best friends with accountability, responsibility. We're going to dive into this topic and so much more. And shout out to all the incredible guests who are going to provide you with roadmaps and blueprints and pathways to pull from, to glean insight and inspiration and information out of, that you can consider and really just configure to your life that which will serve you. Because I know we're all looking to improve and are all looking to enhance in this area. Now, warning, this season, it's going to pierce your heart and soul, as I know it did mine. It is going to make you uncomfortable, because we're going to have to sit with the fact that it all starts with us. But that is exactly what we need. And we all know we can use more truth and honesty to raise our consciousness so we can make those corrections that we need to make the change we'd like to see in those areas of our life. Personal, professional, financial, physical, social, emotional, mental, and spiritual. That was a lot, but let the journey begin. And so with that said, that is it for today's show. I would like to thank you all for your presence and tuning in today. If you enjoyed this episode, Please show your support by sharing the Living Once Twice podcast on Instagram, LinkedIn. Leave us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Also, give us a follow on Instagram at Living Once Twice for more content updates. Reaching out to you all through the time and the space that separates us to say, remember, your dream life is waiting for you. It's time to go for it. You deserve it. Catch you later on Living Once Twice.